I want to phrase it. Interesting contact I was given as it relates to coaching the boys basketball team at Jones. I think you would find it somewhat fascinating.
Yeah, I got some more details on the now UABC too.
Yeah, I had heard about that from Janine and Mark. It gets more interesting all the time.
It does. We have far more people participating than I anticipated seeing.
Well, and that I anticipated as well, because when I went through all of the various acceptances last night that had come in, there were only like 2 or 3. I had a lot of bad emails that didn't get served and so forth, which is kind of typical, especially when you're dealing with a lot of the cases that are over 2 years old. But not that you needed to accept it, but it is what it is.
Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning. How are you?
Wonderful.
Phil, I think with this platform, this is what we expected to see, though. More people participating.
Potentially, yes. Yep. Can't disagree with you there. Yeah. Give Charlita a few more minutes.
No more Golden Bear sports reports?
You've already missed them.
No, not at this point.
My daughter's now a coach in the Upper Arlington program.
And I am coaching the 7th graders this year at Jones Middle School, because the guy who has coached the 7th graders for about the last, I don't know, 6 or 7 years maybe, his son is a 7th grader, and so he didn't want to coach his son. And so we got, my friend and I got downgraded from 8th to 7th, if you want to look at it that way. Although I understand the 7th graders have a pretty good group. And so I'm expecting a fun time, good group. At least I've been told so by Scott. I've been told so by Sean Henry, whose son is in that group.
Yeah, Andy coached him in the fall league. She said he's really good.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. I have avoided responding back. I got a text from Sean kind of the other night, kind of saying, "Well, what do you think?" Because they've had open gyms a couple of nights, and I have not been at either of the open gyms. And at some point today, I'm going to respond back to him and say, "Don't know. Haven't been to any of the open gyms, Sean. It'll be interesting to see."
Andy was coaching with Matt Croce in a fall league, and his son was on the team.
Oh, okay.
And I suspect, Phil, that I'm going to be an 8th grade girls basketball assistant coach this year.
All right. Do we know how good they are or anything like that? I mean, have you heard anything?
She's gone to a couple open gyms. There's 13 girls trying out, and she said there's some athletes, but not a whole ton of talent.
Okay. Yeah, I think the watching both the Jones 7th and 8th grade girls at various times last year, they were a little short on talent.
It can be painful watching.
I think we've all been there at one point or another. All right. Let's see here.
So it looks like Chris had started the recording.
Yeah. He did, like right at 10 o'clock, I think.
case numbers for everybody that's logged on.
Okay. Okay, all right. Well, I'm just checking in if there's anything I can do to, I can't obviously come out there and help you, but. Okay. Okay, whatever works. We're looking forward to your background. Bye. Ms. Tavares said she is attempting to join, but having problems of some sort. Let's see, I want to go to my sent items. Oh, I gotta open it. Dumb person. So I don't want that. Do.
Chris, are you responding to the chats?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right. Don't know if that'll help her, but I just resent the link to the meeting to Ms. Tavares.
Phil, I did appreciate you sending that link to my work email. That was very helpful.
Yeah, well, you're now in my contacts for members that way. I added you so that you will get them that way from now on, and that way you can add it to your inbox.
I appreciate having days like that. This morning, I actually got up and showered first thing in the morning.
Thank you for that information.
Yes, good to know, Scott.
I often find that I'm now showering it toward the end of the day. Like it's like Groundhog Day. I put my sweats on, I go down in the basement, and I start working.
Do. Mhm.
I think in case any of the participants are wondering, we are waiting for one additional commissioner to join. She apparently is experiencing difficulty joining the meeting, so hopefully it'll be soon.
That's correct. We are.
Yeah.
Okay, what was your name?
Since I noticed, I will just go ahead and add ahead of time, since I noticed one of the persons who has joined us was Mr. Tobias, Andrew Tobias from Cleveland.com, the Plain Dealer. Andrew, just to give you a heads up, we are going to continue the Elkins case to a later date.
So you guys were talking about basketball and coaching. My son has played since 3rd grade. He's a senior this year, and he said, I don't think I'm going to play basketball this year. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah. So that's
Wow.
the big controversy in our house right now because we're like, you should play. Yeah. He wants to snowboard all winter. I'm like, yeah. With his luck, we'll have no snow or something,
Yeah, really. How far is it to a skiing place from your, still about an hour drive?
Oh no, we're about 30 minutes from Mad River Mountain.
30 minutes from Mad River? Okay.
Yeah. And he's already bought his pass and all of that. But if you have any words of wisdom of how I can gently nudge him in the right direction of making sure he plays his senior year.
Yeah, really. So he's played all 3 up to this year, huh?
He's played since 3rd grade. Yeah. So he's been varsity since his freshman year. So
Wow.
yeah, he's a hoot. Oh goodness.
Yeah, that would be tough to take, I think.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
haven't
Go
skied
ahead.
since my son was in 6th grade.
Yeah, he just all of a sudden decided he loved it, and he's actually, become pretty good, and I don't know. So,
As a skier, I applaud him.
yeah. Yeah. Well, we're not gonna mention that one, Dennis, to
Yeah,
him.
okay.
I mean, there's plenty of time to do it. He just needs to do it in between and not get hurt so he can't play. I don't know.
Yeah, really. Although, does he have, I presume he would have to keep that quiet from the coaches that he was doing that when they weren't having practice or anything else?
Oh no, he's flat out told him. He said,
okay.
"Listen, I'm gonna do it," and they're like, "Well, we don't really want you to get hurt." And he said, "Well, I'm sure I won't," with the, confidence of a soon-to-be 18-year-old. So,
Here's
very.
what you can pass on to him. I broke a collarbone and I broke in another incident skiing 2 ribs. So yes, you can get hurt very quickly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's full of vim and vigor. He doesn't, he's 10 foot tall and bulletproof. So.
Yeah, there you go. So I see, did Nikki, or not did Nikki, did Andy not ski, Scott? Because see, I would have said I had, the last time I went, I think was probably when Logan was in 6th grade. Because he would have still gone, we would have still gone then at one point, I think.
Because of basketball, they stopped. I mean, she skied when she was young.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. Logan skied up. You said the last time was with your son, with AJ it's in 6th grade. I got a few more years after Wesley because Logan skied, and I think I went with him at least once. Well, at least once when he was in 6th grade because they hadn't joined the middle school team at that point.
I joined Charlotta.
I see Miss Tavares is present here.
I admitted her.
Finally, sorry.
Okay.
There she is.
There we go. All right. So you're ready to go there, Charlita?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, Chair Bromer, if you want to get us started.
I would like to call the October 29th, 2020 meeting of the Ohio Election Commission to order. Executive Director Richter, would you take the roll call, please?
Mr. Norman.
I'm here.
Mr. Kreitz.
Here.
Ms. Kaufman.
Here.
Mr. Beatty.
Here.
Ms. Cunningham.
Here.
Ms. Tavares.
Here.
Chair Bromer.
Here.
All present for today's meeting, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Our next order of business is approval of the October 15th, 2020 meeting minutes. I know you were all provided updates yesterday. Are there any corrections or additions to those minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I would suggest that we amend those minutes to include a motion and approval of the absence of Mr. Beatty.
Second. Norman.
Okay. So the minutes otherwise are fine aside from that, addition, correct?
Apparently, we need to act on
Okay.
that motion. There
Move
was
it.
a motion made and properly second to excuse Commissioner Beatty from the October 15th, 2020 meeting. All those in favor of that motion, raise their hands.
Or
Aye.
signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. That
Mis-
motion passes unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the minutes of October 15th, 2020 as amended.
Second.
There's a motion made and properly seconded to approve the October 15th meeting minutes of the Ohio Election Commission. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand or say aye.
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 All those opposed, the ayes have it. Looked like it was unanimous.
Thank you. What? Charlie may be in my phone, so I don't know. Oh, yeah, I'm seeing them. I don't know what's going on in yours. Sorry, Chris and I are chatting on the side here because he wants to look at all your beautiful faces and he's not seeing them for some reason, whereas I am. And so I feel blessed.
The only person I don't see is Charletta.
Oh, I see her.
Yeah, I don't see her.
Yeah, I've got her.
All right,
Well,
Phil.
we know we're here.
Yeah, I can't see anyone except for Chair Brummer, Phil, and myself.
Oh, okay.
It looks like she's just got a screenshot. She's not, it's not live video.
Right.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not sure what the circumstance is there, but yeah, I mean, we know they're present. You know, I mean, they've all indicated their presence and they're here. Okay, sorry, go ahead, Mr. Chair.
Well, the next order of business, according to the agenda, is 4 cases involving the Elkins cases. Do you want to, before we get into that, do you want to say a few words about it?
I can speak briefly to it and recommend that the commission continue the matter. I had conversation with counsel to both parties, excuse me, on Tuesday. We discussed the kind of where the case was, the status of the Board of Elections as it relates to this. And at the conclusion of our conversation, I indicated that I would come back to them and either the commission would go forward today based on a tentative agreement that the parties were working on, or continue it if I felt it was necessary to have the matter continued to a later date. After reviewing certain materials, I believe it's appropriate for the commission to continue this matter. It appears that a more full and complete hearing will be necessary in order to resolve this. I emailed the parties yesterday of that conclusion. And so I've noticed that Mr. Sulis, Mr. Licklider, Mr. Rupert, and Mr. Sims, who are the respective counsel, some for the county, some for Mr. Elkins, are not here today. But I had indicated to them that we were going to continue the matter. So my recommendation at this point would be that the matter be continued. I indicated to them in my email that I would be back in touch with them to work out a date off into the future. What that date will be right now, I can't say because I haven't had those conversations with any of the parties. But I would recommend that the matter be continued, and I'll set a hearing date for this, probably sometime early next year.
All right. So for the record, in cases 2019 R-318, 2020 R-057, 2020 R-058, 2020 R-059, the executive director recommends that those cases be continued to a later date. Is there a motion?
So moved. This is Charlita.
Second, Cunningham.
There's a motion made and seconded to continue the above reference or the reference cases to a later date. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
And it looks like it's unanimous, Phil. I can't see
Yep.
everyone, but
I believe that to be the case, yes. Anyone out there wanting to vote no? I don't hear a no, so yes. Okay, so that matter will be continued. I will be in further touch with both you and council as it relates to moving that forward.
now, before we proceed, I note that there's a lot of folks on this conference. Are they here to talk on their individual cases or?
I would believe that to be the case, yes. One, I know I recognized a continuance matter that I'll bring forward first, Mr. Chair. It's on page 2 of the working agenda. I have it reflected as a continue to December 17th, 2020. One of the persons that is here is the counsel for the respondent in that case, Mr. Landon. His name is Ryan Spitzer. I informed Mr. Spitzer last night that the matter was going to be continued. I had conversation with, you guys may recall this because of the bulk of information that the board first sent to us, and then that was subsequently submitted to the commission by Mr. Spitzer as it relates to Mr. Landon's filings. I had a conversation yesterday with the deputy and the director of the Board of Elections at Marion County. And with all of the things that are going on as it relates to next Tuesday's election, they're a little busy. And they have not had an opportunity to go back through all of the submissions that have been made by Mr. Landon in an effort to try and bring those filings into compliance. And so after talking with them and getting an understanding of the circumstance from them and their concerns about the filings, I'm recommending that that matter be continued to December 17th. I told them in my conversation that we had 2 meetings coming up, November 17th or November 19th and December 17th. And they said while they hoped that it would be done by November, they would feel better about doing it in December. And so that's why I'm recommending that this matter be continued to December to give the board a chance to go through those reports and see if they are satisfactory. So anyway, I thought, I don't know that it, if the commission wanted to hear further from Mr. Spitzer at this point, regardless, I'm recommending that the matter be continued.
Well, is Mr. Spitzer on the call?
Yeah, I mean, I see a whole series of initials down below, and I noticed early on there was a Ryan Spitzer, and I see RS on my. He's muted. Oh, okay. Chris has indicated he's muted. So,
Mr. Spitzer, if you're on the call, you heard the recommendation of the executive director. Do you want to say a few words at this time, or if not, we'll move to take action on this?
Thank you, Commissioner Bromer. Hopefully everyone can hear me. I did unmute myself. I did not want to interrupt the commission as they were speaking. I did receive Mr. Richter's recommendation yesterday. I did relay that to Mr. Landon and Mr. Watts. We have no issue with this being postponed and moved to December, especially given the events that are coming up next week. I did inform Director Richter that if there's any supplemental information that the commission would like to review or anything else that we could relate to the board, we're certainly happy to do so as well.
All right, thank you. So the recommendation of the executive director in case number 2020R-308 is that case be continued to the December 17th, 2020 meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved, Kreitz.
Second, Tavares.
There is a motion made and properly second to continue this case to December 17th. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any other case where we have people waiting to talk?
Well, I think there's a number of them out there. I'm not sure the best approach toward moving this forward. Okay, Chris just
use
gave
the
me,
chat. Use the chat. Ask the people to type into the chat if they're
Chris
here to
has,
speak on their
Chris
issue.
just gave me a listing of what, you know, the case numbers for which persons, Bishop isn't 320, Bishop is something else. Yeah. Rollins, okay, well, since I see it there, whoa, she was there and then she disappeared.
Rollins is 44 under good cause.
Right, no, 44 or 46.
44.
Oh, case number 44, item 346, okay. How do I call somebody up? Or do you want to call somebody up, Chris? Can you do that? Yeah. I mean, I would love to be able to bring up, since we see Roland there. I don't want to start a conversation. I apologize.
This is Mary Margaret Rollins. If
Oh,
you're ready
okay,
to
there we go.
proceed, I'm on.
Yeah, thank you very much. Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is item number 44 on the agenda, case number 2020 R-346, in which I am recommending that the commission find a violation, but for good cause, not impose a fine or refer the matter for further prosecution. Certainly we could hear further from Ms. Rollins if the commission would decide to do so. Chairman, I'll put it back to you, Mr. Chair.
Well, yeah, since she's on the call, if she wants to talk on her case, she's more than welcome to do so.
I have now lost my ability to see all of you, but I don't know if you can see me.
I can
Mr.
see you.
Brummer, do we have to
Oh.
have the witnesses sworn? Sorry to interrupt. Just want to check in on that issue.
Yeah, that's a good point. I should
I'm
have thought of
sorry?
that. I apologize. We'd ask you, if you're going to have comments to the commission, we would ask you to be sworn. I'll swear you in.
Sure.
Do you swear that the following statement you are about to make is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I have submitted a written explanation for the delay in the filing. If there are any questions about that, I'm happy to take them.
I have synopsized that response and circulated it to commission members as a part of my recommendation to them, so they have it in front of you. If there are any additional questions, I can certainly ask them. Otherwise, my recommendation stands.
Thank
So
you.
do any other commission members have any questions of Ms. Rollins? Hearing none. Anyone else? Again, I saw an awful lot of people registering here, a lot under the good cause cases. Is there anyone else that wants to say anything?
Before we proceed, Dennis, I think we have to have a vote on this recommendation.
Yeah, I would go forward on this recommendation at this point, and then we can try to work through and figure out how to deal with everybody else.
All right, in case number 2020 R-346, the executive director recommends that a violation be found, but for good cause, no fine be imposed and no further prosecution. Is there a motion?
So moved, Norman.
Second, Cunningham.
There's a motion made and properly second to concur with the executive director's recommendation. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I think it's unanimous.
It is. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Mhm.
All right, as I go down. here.
Hi, this is Joy Malik Oldfield. I have the same scenario from Summit County.
Okay,
And that is case number 45.
correct.
Actually, it's item 45.
Item 45, case number 347. Okay. Ms. Oldfield, did you want to, my recommendation is to find that there's a violation, but for good cause not impose a fine or refer the matter further prosecution. Would you like to address the commission further? If so, I would need to swear you in.
Yes, please.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do, thank you.
Thank
Can
you. Go
put the
ahead.
Video on, please.
I don't know if you can see me.
There,
Thank
now
you
we
for-
can.
Sorry, I didn't realize how to use the technology. Thank you so much for allowing us to be present today. I do appreciate the recommendation for no fine and further action. I did request in my letter if there was any circumstance under which the commission could also waive any finding, given the specific and special nature of judicial elections, the fact that it was filed within 24 hours, the fact that my history suggests and demonstrates that I, before and since, have had no violations with the commission regarding filing. I frankly don't know if that's even a remedy that you do, but that's something that I did request, and so I wanted to put it out there and see if that's something that could be done. Regardless, I do appreciate your time.
Okay, do any commission members have any questions of Ms. Oldfield? Hearing none, the executive director recommends in case number 2020R-347 that a violation be found, but for good cause, no imposition of a fine and no further prosecution. Is there a motion?
So moved, Kreitz.
Second,
Sec-
Kaufman.
There's a motion made and properly second to concur with the executive director's recommendation. All those in favor of that motion, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
All those
Looks
opposed,
unanimous.
no opposed, so it is unanimous. Thank you very much for coming.
I will tell you that your history of not having problems with finding for no fine or further prosecution. That's
I'm
why
so
you got.
sorry, you cut out. What was that,
Yeah,
Sarah?
you're cutting out, Scott.
I was just going to explain the reason that her past history leads us to a finding of no fine or further prosecution, good cause, as opposed to a fine.
I do appreciate that.
Yep,
Do we have to stay on this call any further?
you do
No,
not.
you do not.
No.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you for
Thank you.
appearing. All right, Phil, what's next?
Okay. Now, you're bringing him in? Yeah, okay. Well, make an attendee and present. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm sorry, I'm trying to work through the next one that Chris is suggesting is George Brigham, or George Bigham, excuse me, item number 8, it's under the $50 fine category, item number 18, case number 2020R-320. My recommendation is to find a violation and impose a fine of $50. If the commission would like to hear further from Mr. Bigham, who is the treasurer for his wife's, appears to be his wife's campaign. Mr. Bigham, go ahead.
Yes, as I said in my chat, I really don't have anything else to add. I just didn't know if I needed to be here or not.
Oh.
So I apologize for that.
No.
If that's fine.
Then
Okay.
there's my recommendation.
All right, so in the case of 2020R-320, the executive director recommends that a violation be found and a $50 fine be assessed. All those in favor of his recommendation?
We have to move
Well,
first.
we need to have a
We
move.
have a motion.
Yeah.
So moved, Arleta.
That's
I'm
Ms.
sorry, is there a
Tavera.
motion?
Yep, Ms. Tavera.
Yes.
Second, Kreitz.
There has been a motion and a second to concur with the executive director's recommendation. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay. As I am just kind of,
Bishop is on the call.
I'm sorry, who is that?
2020. Bishop
Oh,
is on the
Mr.
call.
Bishop?
Yeah.
2020 R220. Well, this is an interesting situation. I have not had the chance to review. Mr. Bishop submitted a response this morning. When I checked, and if you look at page 2 of the working agenda, my recommendation on this case is to consolidate with a previous case that we had, find a violation, and impose a fine of $25 per day with a reconsideration option. In my conversation yesterday with staff from the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections, they acknowledged that a report had been submitted by Mr. Bishop, but from talking to the campaign finance staff there, it was not complete and did not match up with other amounts from previous messages. That's the nature for my recommendation. Commission members may or may not recall, this was on our, I think it was September 17th meeting, and it continued to this date to give Mr. Bishop an opportunity to submit those reports. And like I said, I have not looked at the reports, but according to staff at the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections, it is incomplete. Mr. Bishop, if you would, I will gladly swear you in. You can make an additional statement to the commission, and the commission can determine how it wants to proceed from there. Mr. Bishop, if you would raise your right hand and indicate, do you swear that the statement you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Please go ahead.
To the commission, I have contacted the board, my county board, and they informed me that they wanted to converse with me after the election because the overwhelming participation with voters, they were swamped down at the Board of Elections, so it's been very difficult. They actually asked me to call them back after the election, but I knew that I had to have my reports in. So my treasurer is pretty much, she's gone. So I went through my reports and I did what to the best of my knowledge. So I really do have to have another treasurer at this point in time, but I really want to converse with the Board of Elections so I can actually get everything correct. So that is where I'm at right now with the reports. I do want to get this. I do want to get this correct, and I want to move on from this, and I want to get a treasurer that I can rely on to get my reports in accurately.
I don't have any other questions. If commission members have questions, certainly you can go ahead and ask.
Any other commission members have any questions? Hearing none, in case number 2020 R-220, the executive director recommends that this case be consolidated with case number 2019 R-490, violation, and impose a fine of $25 a day with a consideration option. Is there a motion?
I have a question. Since we've had him here, and we might be able to get him in compliance, but not anytime soon because of what's going on in the election, might it make sense to just continue this out to December to see if he's gotten it taken care of so we can actually see what's happening?
That's certainly possible, yes. I will just add that, maybe it's because of the pressures of the upcoming election. But the County Board of Elections was a tad aggravated with the circumstances, let's put it that way. But yeah, that's certainly realistic. It's not unrealistic, let's put it that way.
Are you going to make a motion to that effect, Mr. Norman?
Well, I'm looking to see if Mr. Bishop has any comment about that. If we continue it so he can get his stuff together, and then maybe we can get some finality at his December meeting instead of just doing the reconsideration option. We might be able to just impose a fine and have this case resolved.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely going to comply with the recommendations of the committee, and I will get back to the Board of Elections after the election is over to get this thing resolved, and I'll hire a new treasurer so I won't go through this again.
If we're considering that, this is Catherine, if we're considering that, I'm just going to raise, it looks like from the ICW that Phil has had some service issues. So if we're going to do that, I think we would want to make sure that we have a good address and can get service for any future continuances.
I think also for email and also for a phone number.
Yes.
Do we have that now? Okay, Chris is nodding his head that with the text or with the fax that was sent in today, we have some of that information.
Okay.
So, you know, that is now available to us.
Yeah, and if we could, I think we should, while he's here, just confirm that with him.
Yeah, I just got a email from Chris. I do believe it was one of the staffers, and I can email him right now with my updated information so he can file.
Thank you.
Mr. Bishop, would it be your preference that we can take this matter until December?
Yeah, I would appreciate that, and I really appreciate that. Yes.
So, Mr. Norman, are you making a motion in that regard?
I would move that we continue this matter until the December meeting.
This is Charlene. I'll make the second.
Thank you.
There's a motion made and properly second to continue case number 2020-220 until the December 17th meeting. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand or say aye.
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 All those opposed, apparently there's no opposition.
Thank you very much. That matter will be continued.
Thank you.
I have just spotlighted Gregory Dortch, who is the treasurer in item number 19, case number 2020-R-321, David Hamilton, Akron Municipal Court Judge. My recommendation is to find a violation and impose a fine of $50.
Phil, go slower. Where did you say the case is at?
It's in the $50 fine category. Item number 19. 2020-R-321. Sorry, Mr. Chair.
Okay, got it.
And Mr. Dortch is the treasurer for that committee. Mr. Dortch, would you like to further address the commission on this matter? If so, you need to be sworn, and I will swear you in. You're muted right at the moment. Yeah, thank you. There you go. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you very much. Please
close the video for us. That I appreciate.
Again, I did submit my response letter to the complaint, and I do apologize for the misunderstanding of the requirement. It was not my intentions, nor will it ever be my intentions, to allow such a report to go over a year without it being filed. 1 day or two, I can understand that, but I just did not understand the language of the 10-day letter, or even the flyer that came along with it that was entitled, "Does my candidate committee had to be filed a semi-annual report?" I guess the language was ambiguous to me, and if you take a look at the semi-annual report, you will see that we did not collect any money, any contributions for that period. And we only had $700 for disbursements of that period. And the requirement of the letter, as I took it, that if our committee did not receive $10,000 in that period since the last time a report was filed, then that would be one of the qualifications of not having to submit a report. So I do apologize. It was just my misunderstanding.
Well, thank you very much for that explanation. Do any other commission members have any questions of Mr. Hamilton?
Mr. Dortch, actually.
Oh, I'm
For
sorry.
Mr. Hamilton. That's okay.
Sorry. Any other questions? Hearing none. In case number 2020R-321, Executive Director has found a violation occurred and is imposing a $50 fine. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second, Kreitz.
There's a motion made and properly second to concur with the Executive Director's recommendation. All those in favor, say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
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 All those opposed, hearing no opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Dortch. Appreciate your time and presence before the commission.
Yeah.
I am calling up TJ or Theodore Hunterlaw, also in the $50 fine category, item number 9, 2020R-311. And again, Mr. Hunterlaw, my recommendation to the commission is to find a violation and impose a fine of $50. If you would like to speak to the commission, you're currently muted, so I can't hear anything from you. I will be glad to swear you in and you can make an additional statement to the commission. Is that what you would like to do?
Yes, please.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Can you
Okay,
pull up your
thank you very
video,
much.
please?
Before
Sorry?
he speaks, I don't know what's going on. I can only see Scott and you, Phil. I can't see anyone else.
Well, it's going back. I think by me highlighting him, it brings him to the fore and it pushes everybody else to kind of to the side. So,
And Phil, I think as a procedural matter, when you're swearing in a witness, I think we should have their video up and we should be able to see the witness as they're being sworn in.
I appreciate that. I will make sure that that happens in the future, presuming they have the ability to have video. I don't, it could be that they don't have a camera available. Mr. Hunterlaw, if you have a camera, I would encourage you to activate it so that we can see you.
I thought I did. Is it not on now? Because I see
No,
my.
there we go. We got you now.
Oh,
No,
No,
okay.
I was
there we
gonna say I don't, but if you do,
there we go.
I don't have him.
I do.
I've
can
got
see
him.
it. Yep.
it's my little note
I
says
do.
this participant's video is highlighted for everyone in the meeting. Not for me. Anyway, go ahead, Mr. Hunterlaw, since the commission members are seeing you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the commission's time today. And I just want to say it was an part to not get it filed on time. As soon as it was brought to my attention, I did file it. There were 0 expenses during the time. And I then overnighted it to Mr. Richter. I followed up the week later with a phone call. He was not able to confirm he got it. And then last week I found out that I think Chris, who works for Mr. Richter, still said you guys had not seen what I emailed. I overnighted. I think I spent $30 overnighting it. So I have copies of the letter, of the receipt, and of the receipt of the overnight. And I apologize for the inconvenience.
Oh, there we go.
Well, I still don't have video, but
No, I
again, what
do.
is that case number and where is it at?
2020R-311. 2020R-311. It's in the $50 fine category. Mr. Hunterlaw, I did get your response, and the commission members all got a synopsis of that response, wherein it says, let me get to my There we go. Oh, fudge. I thought I had it. There we go.
Mr. Dortch, if you would close out your video, because then it might be precluding video, if you would, sir.
Failure to file was complete oversight. After getting notice from the commission, the report was resubmitted. So I did get that response, Mr. Hunterlaw, and it was circulated to commission members.
Okay, and then I think I followed up just 2 or 3 days ago with an email taking pictures of these forms to make sure that you did have them. I think I then emailed that to you on the 20th.
Yes. Correct.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you for appearing before the commission. Do any commission members have any questions of Mr. Hunterlaw? Hearing none, in case number 2020-R-311, the executive director has recommended that a violation occurred and that a $50 fine be imposed. Is there a motion?
I move that we follow the executive director's recommendation. This is Norman.
Second, Charlita.
There's a motion made and properly second to follow the executive director's recommendation. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand or say aye.
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 All those opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to try and call up some folks here. This is someone listed, Allison Koss. Ms. Koss, you're muted. I'm not, I don't show a particular case number for which you are indicated. If you could identify the case for which you're interested in, or maybe you're just here to.
This is our court reporter, Phil.
Oh. Okay, never mind. Well, I see Christian, who's a guest. Sorry, Ms. Koss. There is on my participants list, there's someone identified as Christian as a guest. That person is muted right at the moment. I'm not sure what case you are involved with or interested in. If you would identify yourself in the case that you would like to speak to. Or not. I know you're muted, whoever you are out there. All right, I'm going to move on then to another person identified as a guest. That is James. And I'm not sure which case that you are interested or involved with. I see you just unmuted yourself. What case number are you here for?
I'm going to apologize because I have twins on the other side of this door right away. We wouldn't wait. So if they do come in, I apologize in advance. 2020-R-324. James Olson.
Where is it? Oh, $200 fine.
$200 fine category,
Okay.
item 20, case
22. James, Mr. Alstrom. Okay. Mr. Alstrom, I'll briefly state that I am recommending the commission find a violation and impose a fine of $200. I will, if you would like to further address the commission, if you could turn your camera on.
It's on.
It's on. I'm not seeing it, but as long as the commission members can, if you would say it. Yeah, all of a sudden I'm having a brain cramp. If the statement you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
No, thanks for the commission. In regards to the late filing and trying to find the difference in the amount stated, we just can't find it. I've had numerous people help me and try to do that, include my own CPA, but cannot find it. So I'm open to any ideas or fines or fees or anything we have to do to take this and terminate it. Did you guys receive my letter?
I did receive your letter. you know, and it was reflected as filing, and I don't know if I want to say, I wasn't confused by the nature of your statement, but I'm glad you're here to clarify further. I'm going to ask a couple questions. So, hold on a second. I'm trying to call up your case. Just when I thought I had it, it disappeared on me.
Just for the record, this is case number 2020R-324.
Right. Okay, yeah, you were referred for late filing of the 2018 annual report. It was filed on February 1 of 2020. Okay, you have just indicated you're trying to terminate your committee, correct?
Yes, I did one re-election 3 years ago. And I've been working out of town since. Therefore, there's a stack of papers when I come back, so I took care of it as soon as I could.
Okay.
So the late filing is with that, which is totally on me. And then there's a discrepancy about the bank accounts being closed for quite some time, and we cannot find the difference in the amounts due as well.
Okay, so your campaign finance report is reflecting an outstanding balance, correct?
$200 and change, yes.
Okay, and but your bank accounts have been closed, so therefore, obviously there's a problem. I'm just trying to clarify this for the record and for my own mind. And you have not been able to otherwise identify any what the discrepancy is, or where it came from, or how long it's been out there.
Correct.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like the commission to hear? Have you had any conversations with the Board of Elections as it relates to this?
Many. I've had both finance people try to help me try to find the discrepancy, but they are unable to do it. So therefore, I went to people that have done this for quite some time, and included my own personal CPA, and I cannot find it.
Okay. Thank you very much. If the commission members have any more questions, I encourage you to go ahead. I'm going to slightly alter my recommendation on this matter. But if there are any questions from commission members, please go ahead. Okay.
This is Catherine. I just want to summarize so I understand. You have a campaign committee that's open that you cannot terminate because your account doesn't reconcile. Is that it?
Correct.
Bottom line.
And
so
I
you
had
want
late filing.
And you had a late filing.
Yes.
The filing is, I'm sorry. The filing has been made, is that right?
Correct.
But it doesn't balance.
Correct.
So since it doesn't balance, you can't terminate.
Correct. And it's not under $25.
And it's not under $25. So what you would like to do is terminate your committee, not have any more reports, but you don't know how you can do that because you can't resolve the lack of balance, right?
That's exactly right. So therefore,
okay. And your bank accounts have been closed. There's no money anywhere that you know of, but there is this $200 that you can't reconcile, and you've made every effort to do so, and you just can't figure it out.
That's all. And that's perfectly said.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead, Phil. Or anyone.
Okay. Yeah. If there are any other questions. Okay, I'm going to change my recommendation then based on his statement and a better understanding of the circumstances. I'm going to recommend that the commission find that there is a violation of the statute for late filing and recommend that the commission impose a fine of $200. But in addition, I'm recommending that the commission declare the committee terminated so that there is no further need for any additional reports based on his admission that there is a problem and an inability to find any further information that would clarify the situation further.
Phil, as a point of clarification, if we do that, is there an additional filing that Mr. Ahlstrom has to do with the Board of Elections to indicate that it has been terminated, or is our order sufficient for that?
Our order is sufficient, and we would send that order along to the Board of Elections to reflect that Mr. Ahlstrom, has been Mr. Ahlstrom's committee has been declared terminated by the commission.
Can I ask a further question?
Absolutely.
Phil, can we hold the termination of that committee until the fine has been paid?
I could pay.
Yeah, we could, sure.
I mean, it just gives us a little bit of an enforcement hammer to make sure that the fines are being paid.
True, okay.
I could pay it as soon as we get off this call if you like.
You need to send a check to us because we don't have the ability to accept any kind of electronic payments at this point. But if you do that, then, you know, that's certainly enough, that's certainly doable, certainly, Mr. Norman.
Okay.
And so I would, you know, incur, as a part of, okay, I'll restate my recommendation. My recommendation is to find that there's been a violation of the statute for the late filing of the campaign finance report and to impose a fine of $200, which shall be paid prior to, but that the commission will declare the committee terminated upon the payment of the $200 fine to the commission.
That's fair. Thank you.
I move that we follow the executive director's recommendation. This is Norman.
I second it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Would you just send me an invoice or how does that work?
We will send you a disposition letter that reflects what the finding is, and it'll lay that all out, and you'll have the ability to respond to that letter and pay your fine.
So there was a motion made. There was a motion made and properly seconded. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand or say aye.
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 Aye. Any nays? Apparently not. The motion
No
passed.
nays. Thank you.
Thank you for appearing, Mr. Alstrom, and getting this taken care of. We appreciate
Yep.
it.
Thank you, Mr. Alstrom.
Stay dry.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, I see it appears that there are just two people left aside from commission members. Okay, there's James. I see, and he's not muted this time. What case are you interested in? Oh, James is who I just took care of. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm losing it here. I apologize. Okay, I see a phone number down here. I'm going to try and call that one up. 419-656-5404. That phone call is muted. I'm not sure what case number you're interested in, if there's something that we can help you with.
Yes,
okay.
yes, sir. This is Paul Stigsworth. I've got a case before the commission.
Oh, Spigsworth. I talked to you yesterday, did I not?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay. That is item number 5 under the $50 fine category. Case number 2020R-307. Paul Sigsworth, the Erie County Sheriff. Mr. Sigsworth, did you want to further address the commission? If so, then you need to be sworn. And if you have video available, we'd ask you to make sure your video is working.
Okay. I would like to address the commission. I do not have video capabilities. I'm on my phone.
Oh, okay. Well, then I will do our best here. Ask you to be sworn. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. So item number 5, case number 2020R-307. This is Paul Sigsworth, Sigsworth. Go ahead, Mr. Sigsworth.
Thank you. I just wanted to appear today, or as you call it, appear out of respect for the commission, just to indicate that I apologize for the violation. I'm working with my treasurer to make sure this never happens again. And other than that, that's pretty much all I had to say.
Okay, have any other questions? Hearing none, thank you for appearing. The executive director recommends in case number 2020R-307 that a violation be found and that a $50 fine be imposed. Is there a motion?
So moved, Kreitz.
Second,
Second,
Kaufman.
Terlita.
I
There
think Ms.
has
Kaufman
been-
beat you to it there.
There's a motion and a proper second. All those in favor, say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Sounds unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, there's one more person that I see on my list of participants that I called up before. I'll try and call him up. At least I think I called him up before. My participant list reflects this as Christian, who's listed as a guest. That person is muted. If you would like to address the commission further or indicate what case you're interested in, we can try and move forward on that. But right at the moment, Christian, you are muted, and we're unable to hear it if you're trying to address the commission. If not, then
if you're looking at your screen, there's a microphone up at the upper right-hand corner that has a line through it. If you're unmuting yourself, you need to click on that.
Or if not, then we can go on to deal with the agenda, the remaining cases on the agenda, I would presume.
Okay.
All right. And doing that, I will beforehand ask the commissioners to assist me in recognizing the cases we already got rid of here. There's quite a few of them. So I'm not redundant on it. The first case would be 2020-R-357. The executive director recommends that case be dismissed. Do you want to speak about that at all, Phil?
Yeah, I think what happened here was this, give me a chance to get to the actual case. There we go. Come on. 357. I gotta go down. We dealt with this case with a previous case, actually, last September. And considering this one involves filings that would have been done prior to that, where we found a violation. Actually, the previous case was dismissed, and I sent along the notes at the time. When we reconsidered this case in May, I was unaware of this referral reconsideration. Termination requires that the committee reach a zero balance. This report would have been submitted at the time of the previous submission, which was on 5/1 of 2019. So it essentially was resolved then. I don't know if we didn't get sufficient information along to the Board of Elections, but the reports about which they are referring here were dealt with in May of last year. And so this matter should never have come to the commission. We'll make sure we get in touch with the board to make sure it's clear to them that this committee has been terminated. And so that's why I'm recommending that we dismiss the matter. That makes sense. I'm kind of talking over myself.
Any questions? Hearing none, the executive director recommends that case number 2020-R-357 be dismissed. Is there a motion?
So moved. This is Charlita.
Second, Norman.
Motion made and properly second to concur with the executive director's recommendation. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Thank you.
None opposed. The next grouping of cases are the good cause cases. And beginning with case 2020-R-304, 2020-R-309, 2020-R-317, 2020-R-319, 2020-R-329, 2020-R-330, 2020-R-332, 2020-R-345, and 2020-R-352. The executive director recommends that a violation be found, but for good cause, not to impose a fine or further prosecution. Is there a motion?
Cunningham, move to follow the executive director's recommendation.
Second, Kreitz.
There's a motion and properly second to concur with the executive director's recommendation. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Phil, were you raising your hand there?
Yes, I'm adding my own vote.
The next case is 2020 R-359. In that case, the executive director recommends that it be consolidated with case number 2019 R-378. Find a violation, but for good cause, no fine be imposed. Is there a motion?
So moved, Beatty.
Second, Norman.
There's a motion made and properly second to concur with the executive director's recommendation. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passed. The next grouping is the $50 fine. And here's where I'm going to probably need a little assistance. The first case is 2020 R-305, 2020 R-306, 2020 R-311, 2020.
Hold on. 311 we dealt with. That was Mr. Honderlaw.
Okay, you're right.
I'm helping.
Good. 2020 R-315, 2020 R-316, 2020 R-327, 2020 R-335, 2020 R-336, 2020 R-338, and 2020 R-360. In those cases, the executive director recommends that a violation be found and that a $50 fine be imposed. Is there a motion?
So moved, Norman.
Second, Beatty.
There's a motion made and properly second to concur with the executive director's recommendation. All those in favor say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. The next cases are the $100 fine cases, and beginning with 2020 R-313, 2020 R-350, 2020 R-358, and 2020 R-364. In those cases, the executive director recommends that a violation be found and that a $100 fine be imposed. Is there a motion?
So moved. This is Tavares.
Second, Kreitz.
There's a motion made and properly second to concur with the executive director's recommendation. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, the motion passed. The next case is 2020 R-322. In that case, the executive director recommends that it be consolidated with case number 2019 R-360, that a violation be found, and the imposition of a $150 fine. Is there a motion?
So moved, Norman.
Second,
second.
Cunningham.
I
Was
think
that-
Catherine. I think
Okay,
Catherine.
I was going to say, I heard, I think both Catherine and Charlita, so, okay, got it.
Okay, there's a motion made and properly second to concur with the executive director's recommendation. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, hearing none, motion passed. The next case are the $200 cases. In that case, 2020 R-310 and 2020 R-343. In those two cases, the executive director recommends a violation be found and that a $200 fine be imposed. Is there a motion?
So moved. Norman.
I second it.
Kaufman.
There's a
Okay.
motion made and did you get the
Yep.
second on that?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
There's a
Yep.
motion made and properly second to concur with the executive director's recommendation. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand or say aye.
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 All those opposed? Hearing none, the motion passed. The next case is 2020 R-341. In that case, the executive director recommends that a violation be found and that a $250 fine be imposed. Is there a motion?
So moved. Kaufman.
I second it. There's a motion made and properly second to concur with the executive director's recommendation. All those in favor of that recommendation or that motion, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion passed. The next cases, I don't think we addressed any of those cases that I can see.
No, we did not.
All right, are 2020 R-312, 2020 R-331, 2020 R-362. In those three cases, the executive director recommends that a violation be found and that a $25 a day penalty with reconsideration options be found. Is there a motion?
So moved. Norman.
Second, Beatty.
There is a motion made and properly seconded to concur with the recommendation of the executive director. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, hearing none, the motion passes. The next case, 2020 R-220. The executive in that case, the
Hold on,
executive-
we
Yeah.
already continued that case. That's Bishop. That was Mr. Bishop.
Okay, that case has already been handled.
Yep.
The next case then is 2020 R-348. In that case, the executive director recommends that a violation be found and that a $25 a day penalty with reconsideration options with a payment of $250 be found. Is there a motion?
So moved. Norman.
Kreitz.
I think Scott made the motion and Mike seconded. There's a motion made and properly seconded to concur with the recommendation of the executive director. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, hearing none, the motion passes. The next case we did take care of, which brings us down to the cases for continuing for service. And I shall read those cases off. They are 2020 R-314, 2020 R-318, 2020 R-323, 2020 R-325, 2020 R-326, 2020 R-328, 2020 R-333, 2020R-334, 2020R-337, 2020R-339, 2020R-340, 2020R-342, 2020R-344, 2020R-349, 2020R-351, 2020R-353, 2020R-354, 2020R-355, 2020R-356, 2020R-361, 2020R-363, and 2020R-365.
Okay, those are all continued then, Mr. Chair. We can move on to the reconsiderations.
In the following cases, 2005 R-417, 2006 R-463, 2007 R-247, 2016 R-295, 2017 R-261, the Executive Director recommends reconsider all outstanding matters, vacate the imposition of fines, consolidate all matters, and impose a fine of $750. Do you want to speak about those, or?
I've had conversation with Mr. Rodriguez for a while. He originally wanted to be reconsidered in April. But then when we continued those meetings or didn't have those meetings, reconsiderations had kind of been put aside for a while, whether they should have or not. And he's contacted me on a couple of different occasions and, found his file, found the various reconsiderations and brought it back. He has finally gotten all of his filings taken care of. He's had various physical issues, which you could see in the recommendation sheet that I sent along. But he still had a number of cases outstanding and fine amounts that have not been paid. And so after my conversations with him and reviewing all the matters and knowing that the reports have been filed, my recommendation is as it says, and I believe that a $750 fine would appear to be appropriate based on the history of these cases. I'll be glad to answer any other questions you have.
Any other commissioners have any other questions? All right, so in those aforementioned cases, the Executive Director, again, recommends that reconsider all outstanding matters, vacate the previous imposition of fines, consolidate all matters, and impose a fine of $750. Is there a motion?
So moved, Kreitz.
All right. There's a motion made and properly second to concur with the recommendation of the Executive Director. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it unanimously. So that appears to conclude the business of the commission. Before we move to adjourn, I don't know what's going on. We seem to have technical difficulty in this time, at least on my end. I don't know anyone else. Many of the people that you let in, I could not see. And to Scott's point, I agree. If somebody's going to swear an oath, I think we ought to at least be able to see them. I don't know why I was not able to do that. Was I the only one?
No, I don't think so. I wish I had a good answer for you, but I'm not sure about that.
I could see them all. And Phil, maybe what we need to do is while we're doing the Zoom, change our protocol and not allow telephone calls in. You either have to find your way to a computer so we can actually see the witness and verify that they're swearing under oath to tell the truth.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm getting better or worse at this as time goes on. I'm wondering myself. I think that's a good point.
I'm thinking there may be some problems, either with the satellites or something, because I'm not seeing anyone except for Mr. Brommer and Mr. Richter at this point. I've seen Catherine at one brief point, Natasha at one brief point, and Scott at one brief point. But it's been sporadic. And so I'm thinking if all of us are having problems, it might be something either with servers or with satellite.
They have to do with the heavy rain.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, right now I see Scott,
possible.
Mike, I see Scott,
Oh,
Mike, and Phil,
I now see Mike Kreitz.
but I don't.
You're
see
living
Mike,
large.
So
The only one you're missing is Otto.
Does everybody
Yeah, I
have the
saw-
gallery view selected? I mean, do you have the gallery or the large gallery view selected with your 3 dots? That could be
I
an
mean,
issue.
I have, but I only see Dennis, Scott, and Mike. Earlier, I had seen Otto, I had seen Natasha, I had seen Catherine, but right at the moment, I'm only seeing 3 other people. I'm not even seeing Chris. Well, I can see Chris because he's over there.
That doesn't count.
Can you
But,
see
yeah.
my background? Can anybody
No,
see
I'm
my
not seeing.
background?
Yes. Yeah,
I
I just saw the
haven't seen you at
background. I
all.
was wondering, were you trying to intimidate people with Alcatraz in the background?
Yeah.
I have unfortunately not been able to see Miss Tavares all day, so that I haven't seen whatever beautiful background she's been showing, demonstrating
I've
everybody.
got San Francisco with Alcatraz in the background.
Oh, darn it. My
And I
loss.
can see everybody. I mean, I've seen
Well-
everybody the whole time.
So have I, yeah.
So
Yeah.
that does make you wonder what is going on now. Natasha, I don't see you. Charlotta, I don't see you. Otto, I don't see you. Catherine, I don't see you. We didn't have this problem last time, so maybe somebody's right about the weather conditions. I don't know.
I don't know.
But
I
I don't
will-
remember having this problem before.
I will take bold action and punt this to Chris and say, Chris, look into it and see if you can find out.
A good leader delegates.
Absolutely.
Actually, I say that only because there is a person in the Rife Center who Chris and I rely on greatly, who is very responsive to any kind of technical issues that we have. And I don't want to say his name here in public, only because I don't want to potentially get him into trouble. Not that it could, but if it would get him into trouble for helping out, because he is just an absolute gem. Anytime we have a computer or a technological problem. And so I know Chris will be in touch with him, and he may be able to give us a good answer. We'll try and respond to that in the interim. The other thing that hopefully it will help, I'll chime this in here. I mean, Chris and I have been talking about, with updating the website and updating our hope in the future is we send out notices on meetings, which, right now we still have to send them out and say we're meeting here physically. We'll be able to add a link to the link to a meeting on the website, so that we can send out notice and say, hey, if you want to join the meeting, do it through this website. And also be prepared to, if you're going to want to speak to the commission, do it in such a way that you have a camera available. So hopefully that will help in the future.
I think,
Hopefully.
Phil, you can also ask them to have their case number available and identify themselves and their case number. So you're
Yeah.
not scrambling. They're getting a notice. When you ask, they all knew it. So just make sure that they sign in with their case number.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Phil, I have a feeling you were surprised that there were so many people. I think all of us were a little.
I was a little bit, only because, like I said, when I looked at, I was going through the, after I send out the team's notice, you get a bump back for everybody who accepts, and all you guys obviously accepted, Chris accepted, et cetera. There were only like 3 people, and one of those persons didn't even attend, who bounced in. All the rest had not responded previously, and just, not that they have to, but all of a sudden they were here at the meeting. So that was a little bit of a I don't know if I want to say a problem, but a bit of a challenge in dealing with that and getting that moving forward.
And lastly, Phil and I talked yesterday about the minutes that have to be signed. Do you want to address the commission on that?
Yeah, when I was right before I went on vacation, I thought I had it all taken care of, and that I would print out print out the minutes and send them along as we had talked about, send them to Natasha for signature and then have her send them to Dennis and eventually get them back here and figure it out. Well, I printed them all out and then walked out of the office without remembering to do that. And so today, though, they will go out of here to Natasha with an envelope forwarding them to Dennis. You two can then sign, send it back here, and then I'll work out getting signatures from all the locals in some manner or form. You know, like when Scott's down the street, Catherine, you're not that far from my house. And Mike, when you're in the office, we'll be able to work it out. We'll get everything signed up through the 15th meeting.
Well, why wouldn't you, I'm not trying to be funny, but why wouldn't we just each person print off a signature page, sign it, and then send them all to you? And then that would be all the signatures. It wouldn't be on one page, but you would have all the signatures and it's just only one mailing.
Well, that's a possibility. This is the scan and return to you. Yeah, this is the Phil who's used to doing things a certain way for 25 years. Talking about doing it that way. That makes perfect sense, Mr. Beatty, but I got to admit.
Open suggestion, my friend,
There you go.
Given the problems with the U.S. post office now.
Well, we would send things out by UPS overnight delivery, so that we get a little more assurance of delivery that way. We still got to work out whether there's the ability. We just haven't. I'll again punt to Chris because he's a better technical expert than I am. If we can figure out how to do electronic signatures and do that, but we haven't done that yet.
I wasn't taking you to that. I wasn't taking you to that level. I get that, but
I tried.
But take you to that level. But I said, okay, I think that might be easier. It's just to download the signature page, sign it, and then scan it and send it back to you.
Does everybody have that capability?
Yes.
Yes.
That sounds like the easiest way to do it, Phil.
Okay. I'm good for that. If you guys are all good with that.
Quite frankly, I think we've already put it on the record. I think we can just use e-signatures and not have to go through this additional step.
Yeah. I'm easy.
Yeah, I think e-signatures are the way to go. I mean,
it's done.
Yeah.
A bunch of paper and time.
Okay.
All right. Phil's going to use his technical expertise and look into this. So,
Dennis, I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
Just things that came to mind. One, and I think we may have talked about this before, but Phil, we have somebody who's a online willing to pay electronically, and we can't take electronic payments, which maybe that would improve our collection rate if we could. So I'm wondering if that's an option and why we don't have it. And I feel like there was a cost involved maybe in the past. I'm not sure.
I have not had recent conversations with the treasurer's office, which is who we would have to work that out through. I would assume that there is a cost. And I can look into it and at least ask the questions, which I will admit I have not done. But the last time I had conversations with them, and it's been a few years, admittedly, with the treasurer's office about, even allowing counties to electronically transfer their payments to us. To be honest with you, the cost to this commission would have been prohibitive. So I did not, I have not looked into that further. And I can do it again now, and because maybe things have changed sufficiently that the cost is not as prohibitive, but it was prohibitive when I looked into it the last time.
Or a credit card payment.
Right. I mean, that's something I think that we should explore because honestly, almost everywhere that I deal with does it now. And I think the General Assembly had some changes in statutes in the last 5 years to make it mandatory for some people to take it.
I couldn't tell you the last time my wife let me touch the checkbook.
Yeah, it's a rare and unusual event, but it still happens.
I will just say this. There, like to Scott's point, taking credit cards, I think that if you offer someone that convenience and if they're willing to do it, there is usually a 3% fee that we would pay as the commission. I know a lot of places pass that fee on to the payee as a convenience charge, and most people do not balk at that. So,
And I
I'd
don't
say
know.
that there's ways to mitigate that.
Yeah, we'd have to check to see if the government can do that, but agreed.
Right.
I mean, schools do it. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. I can check.
And then
but I
the
have not.
other,
I'm sorry.
the other thing, sorry, I interrupted. I apologize. The other thing I was thinking, just on the idea of fines, and again, I don't even know if we can do this, but in some of those cases where you're consolidating a whole bunch of older cases and putting them into one, and we're saying $25 a day, or $750, or particularly some of the more egregious ones that have gotten to that point. Can we, when we choose that fine, can we give them a consolidation and, they have, or a fine of $750 if they pay by December of 2021 or something, so that there's incentive for them to, pay the consolidated amount and not just let it continue to accrue. And again, I don't even know if we can do that. I throw it out there for the commission's consideration because, we're talking about, I think we're doing better with our consistency in fines and getting people back. And to the extent that we can incentivize prompt attention and payment, people like to pay their credit cards on time so they don't have to pay interest. I don't know when you impose a fine, whether you can do that as a condition, but again, I throw that out there for the commission's consideration. And it only came to mind today when we were looking at that one case where we're consolidating a whole bunch of cases at the end and imposing a $750 fine. And that's a person who has had consistent difficulty in meeting their obligations. And I would like to think that they might meet their obligations to pay their fine if we incentivized it.
They've not paid any of the previous fines. That's part of the problem. They just ignore it.
Interesting. Yeah, I as I'm sitting here thinking about it, I mean, our authority, as I think about it in the statute, is to impose fines that are consistent with the statutes. I don't know that there's any more restriction on it that would prevent us from doing that. I can look into it further, but it's an interesting question, interesting point. But it would certainly be different, but I don't know why we would be prevented from doing that. Honestly.
I don't see anybody do it ever, so maybe we are. I don't know. I just throw it out there for the consideration of the group.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So, Catherine, would you be saying, like, I'm looking at one of the cases here, consolidate with case number, find a violation and impose a fine of $150 if paid within 60 days, something like that? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or a date certain or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then otherwise, whatever the fixed fine amount, otherwise maybe your daily amount continues, or I don't know. We'd have to think about it. But I just, we have these people like the Rodriguez cases where it's 5 cases. We're reconsidering all of them. Yeah. We're putting the fine on. And if it's not paid, now I've got 5 cases, $750, and then we're back again when the next report isn't filed with those outstanding plus another till they're terminated and it's resolved. And I think we want to try to get them to do something. I don't know. I'm just, like I said, it came to mind when we were looking at that today, and I thought, well, I don't know.
As I said, as I'm thinking about our authority, again, it's in the ability to impose fines, it has to be within the statutory and/or rule parameters. But I don't know that there would be anything that would prevent us from otherwise doing that. I'll look into it, though. It's interesting.
Well, only if anybody else is interested. I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, I'm interested.
Well, I think most fines you have to pay, there is a certain time limit on when you have to pay it. I guess the question I would have off the top of my head, if they don't meet that time limit, then what?
Well, regardless, we have to send it along to the Attorney General's office for
Right,
collection if they don't pay. You know, and that kicks in at some point. And the reason why I say at some point is, you know, we'll send out notice and then send out a follow-up notice, you know, and then refer it for Attorney General action if it comes to that, because we found that sending out a follow-up notice is very helpful in getting people to comply, at least with the $1,500 fine level. And it may be helpful for a fine like that as well, saying, hey, you've already missed the time when you could have had a $150 fine. Now it's up to 200, 300, whatever. If you don't take action, then we'll send it along to the AG, which is the notice that we send to everybody when we send out our second notices.
or it just goes back to a per diem fine and you don't have the chance to pay it off at a fixed amount.
Well, generally, the fixed amount fines are when, you know, I mean, I could do a maximum on a per diem, but, you know, it's $100 per day. And if they've already filed their report, that's the maximum essentially that you can get there. We couldn't do it $25. Now, on the other ones, we could, yes. And the other ones, the AGs, you know, we always calculate it up until the date that we send it along to the AG's office. You know, so right now that, the $25 a day fines that we've imposed today are just $25 a day. But when we go to refer those to the AG's office, we identify how much that is on the date when we are sending it over to the AG's office.
Yeah.
How about we're not having problems getting the $50 and $100 fines, but what if you say your $50 fine if you pay within 30 days, and if not, it's a $100 fine, and it will be referred to the Attorney General.
That's motivating. I mean, it's a motivator to get it done.
Yeah. Although we have, Chris would tell you, when we did a deposit, was it Tuesday? We did a deposit Tuesday. We had 28 checks. Now, obviously, we had a couple of meetings that we sent out notices for, but that's the most we've ever gotten in terms of fine amount payments in one particular deposit. And so the 50, and they were 50, 100, 150, one was 750, I think, fine amounts that, you know, we seem to be getting attention from people and having them pay those level of fines.
I would think that if we get credit card, our capture rate would go up significantly.
Again, we may, but I'm not sure what the costs involved with that are. I'll go back to, like I said, when I was just trying to get because what the treasurer's office was obligating me to do the last time, and again, it could be different, so I haven't checked with them in a while, was you had to work through a particular bank that they sent you to, set up an account with that bank. Then the monies would go into that bank account. Before then, that the state treasury or it would somehow control, but it went there, and the bank charged a fee for when you were getting, payments into that account. And while the auditor's office wants us to have one consistent payment from the various county boards of election, or not the various county treasurers, I gave up on trying to have that happen a long, long time ago, because, I'm not picking on Erie County, but Erie County is one that will send us a $30 check every 3 weeks when they're getting their payments in, whereas, Cuyahoga may pay us once every 6 months, and it'll be a $10,000 check. Well, the fee that they were charging us was going to be based on the amount of activity in the account and not necessarily on the size of the checks. And so in some regards, when we would get that $30 check from Erie County every 2 weeks, most of that would have been going to bank fees. And it was going to be a major hit on our receipts. And so that's why I never pursued it any further once I had the opportunity to chat with the treasurer's office and the folks at the bank, because they had a set fee already in place. But I'll look into it. Maybe it's different.
It just seems like paying by check is fairly archaic in this day and age.
Can we take Venmo? Just throwing it out there, Phil. That just blew Phil's head off.
Phil doesn't know what Venmo is.
I know my son loves
Hey,
it.
hey, hey,
I've never heard of it.
hey. I don't do it, but
Maybe.
my wife and my kids do. I know that much. So there.
Okay, anyone have anything else?
Yeah, Commissioner Kreitz, what's the best number to reach you?
614-327-1061.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Non-commissioned business.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Yeah, obviously, the next meeting, as you all see, is November the 19th. So having said that, is there a motion to adjourn?
I think
This is
Mr.
Norman.
Norman moved.
Move to adjourn, Norman.
Second, Kreitz.
All right, there's a motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? Say
Aye.
aye. Raise your-
Aye.
The October 29th meeting of the Ohio Election Commission stands adjourned.
Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it.
Stay safe, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
See you
you.
guys.
Mike, I'm going to be reaching out to you at some point, probably later on today as well. Who knows what Otto has, but I've got a quick one as well. See y'all.
See you later, Phil.
See you, Dennis. Thank you. Good job.
Thanks. You too.